And in this video, we're going to talk about EVGo electric charging. What up, internet world? It's your boy Jermaine, back with another video, back with another in real life video. So this video, we're going to talk about EVGo. So if you don't know what EVGo is, I'll explain what EVGo is, and then we'll just talk about, how their chargers work and user experience, and just talk about we're going to talk about sustainable energy in this video. We're going to talk about green stuff. We're going to talk about electric cars. So let's jump right into this. So EVGo, if you never ever heard of EVGo is a charging company, right? So they have electric chargers around the city, all right? Now, what you do is you download their app. After you download the app, you set up an account, you put a credit card on file. If you have a newer car, there's an option in the app where you can just scan a QR code that's in the car, usually in between the door. You just scan that QR code, and once you scan the QR code, what it does is it knows your car, and it also has a credit card on file. So whenever you pull up to an EVGo charging station, your card's on file, your VIN number's on file. So the only thing you have to do is get out of the car, plug the car up, and it just automatically start charging, right? Charging your car and charging your card, charging you double. And they make it very, very convenient to, use the app, and, you can use the app. You can check to see if there's chargers available. You can check and see how fast the chargers are, because that's something else we'll talk about more in this video, is sort of the speeds, because every EVGo charger is not the same. Some are a lot better than others. Basically EVGo, they have a lot of electric charging stations. They pretty much are in random locations. One thing I will say, they're not exactly in any location that I would really go to, just to throw that out there. But yeah, they specialize in fast chargers, which is great if you are, you need to charge up real fast. If you're driving Uber, or at least me, whenever I'm driving Uber, if I go to an EV charger, if I charge for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, that's enough to last me 5 hours. Yeah, sometimes 5 minutes of charging is enough to last 5 hours, especially if you're not getting on the freeway. So fast chargers are dope. It's also very cheap for the most part. It's much cheaper than gas. I don't know why people don't really talk about this more, but even going to a fast chargers are expensive when you are charging an EV. Because if you go to a slow charger, oh my gosh, some of them are $1 an hour, or some of them are just straight up free. I do go to a lot of free chargers, and I really like to go to the free chargers because, it's I'm getting free electricity, and I don't know any gas station that's giving out free gas, if you know what I'm saying. So I really, really like the free ones, but all the time you can't find a free one, because there's whenever I go to the mall, there's a couple free chargers in the Stonestown Mall or Scottstown Mall or whatever. There's also another set of free chargers at some mall in Daly City. Whenever I just happen to be in the area and I just happen to drive by and see if any of those free chargers are available, they're never available. So that's another reason why I kind of like going to EVGo, because you can actually look on the app and see if it's available before you get there. And sometimes I'll look on the app and see, okay, this charger is not available, but by the time I get there, it might be available, So sometimes it kind of helps to see on the app. Another thing about EVGo that's really dope, that I don't see all EV charging companies do this. I know Electrify America does it, and ChargePoint does it, but the app is very the app, you can do a lot of stuff with the app. When your car is charging, you can walk away, and then you can look on the app, and it'll tell you how much your car has charged, and how much time and how much money you've already accumulated in charging time. So it's really, really cool. It's very, very similar to Tesla. Basically EVGo is pretty much done exactly what Tesla has done, especially with how you just go up to the car and you just plug it up and it just already start charging you. So that's pretty awesome. If you don't have a Tesla, you can still have those conveniences. They also do this thing called reservations. I've never ever did a reservation because the places that I go, reservations are just not available. Yeah, but for the most part, the chargers are pretty awesome. Now, the charging speeds, if you are driving a Chevy Bolts, they cap out at like, I think about 50 kilowatts, right? Most EVGo charging, a lot of EVGo charging stations, the older ones in San Francisco, these stations they cap out at 50 kilowatts, right? So if you go to some of the old stations, for example, there's an older station at the Whole Foods location on 4th Street. If you go to that location, you roll up there and there's two chargers. There's like the Chatamo charger, I think it's called Chatamo, CCS, and then there's a Tesla charger. Well, if you roll up there and there's like a Tesla already charging, and if you try to charge, well, like you'll be next in line, but those can only charge like one car at a time, and they cap out at like 50 kilowatts. Just because it cap out at 50 kilowatts doesn't necessarily mean that when you go there, you're going to get 50 kilowatts worth of charging. No, that's not how it works. A lot of times when I go to that location, I'll get like 35 kilowatts. So if you need to charge, like if you're trying to get like the most efficient charge time, like if you're trying to stop for like 30 minutes and you're trying to juice up the most, like going to that Whole Foods location, you wouldn't juice up the most. And that's if you're in a Chevy Bolt, right? If you're in a freaking Tesla, and if you go to that location, holy cow, you're like wasting your time, because Teslas cap out at 250 kilowatt charging. And if you go there, you're going to get, what, 35 kilowatt charging, versus if you went to a Tesla supercharger, you can get up to 250 kilowatt charging. Or if you went to an EVGo station, a newer EVGo station, some of the newer EVGo stations, they have 2 ports, 2 chargers, and they cap out at 250 kilowatt. So if there's 2 Teslas charging, they wouldn't, get, the full 250 kilowatt, but they'll still get like, they'll still be able to charge at the same time. If it's like 2 Chevy Bolts pulling up to one of those EVGo chargers that, cap out at 250 kilowatt, both of them will be able to fully charge like, maximum capacity, So that's one thing to know about EVGo charging. Like they don't always charge the same. I would say the best EVGo charging station that I've went to so far is the one in North Beach. This EVGo charging station is a very large station for the most part. It's mainly for Waymo. I think there's like maybe 25 or 30 parking spots for Waymo cars. I don't know if it's that many. Maybe it's like 20 parking spots for Waymo cars. And then there's 4 electric charging spots for regular cars, right? So when you go there, there are 4 separate stations for 4 parking spots. Now, I don't know why EVGo does this, but this makes no sense, because I go there and each station can charge 2 cars at the same time, right? Especially if they're like Chevy Bolts, right? They can charge at the same time. One station caps out at 100 kilowatts. Two of the stations cap out at 100 kilowatts, and 2 of the stations, I think, cap out at like 350 kilowatts or something. So it would be nice if it was actually 8 parking spots, because now like 8 cars could possibly charge, right? If you are charging like a Chevy Bolt and you're using one of the stations that cap out at 100 kilowatts, well, if another Chevy Bolt can't charge there, it's like this machine isn't even getting used like at its maximum capacity, because there's not another parking spot. But if it was actually 2 parking spots there per machine, now you can have like 2 cars like come up and park. So this is something kind of annoying with EVGo. Like, I don't know why they do this. Like right now I'm sitting at this new station that they finished the construction at this location. They finished the construction like weeks ago. And this station is already ready to go. There's 5 parking spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 parking spots here. There's 6 chargers. And it just makes me wonder, like, I wonder why they would put like 5 parking spots, but then they would have slots for 6 people to charge. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. But EVGo, like, it's awesome. Like, it's charging company. Now there are other options. Other options you can use when you're trying to charge an electric car. There's ChargePoint. Now the thing with ChargePoint is they don't really have a lot of electric chargers, right? So they don't have a lot of fast chargers. They have some electric chargers, but a lot of their electric chargers are not accessible to the public. Kinda like EVGo. I would say majority of EVGo chargers are not accessible to the public. Majority of EVGo chargers, at least in San Francisco, are designated for Waymo and Cruise. And Waymo and at least Cruise right now, a majority of their cars are parked. So EVGo also has another location in the city. It's on 16th and Shotwell. This location, they finished the construction weeks ago. And of course, this location is not open at all. There's another side that's open that is for Cruise. And once again, since Cruise has a lot of their cars parked because they had a couple accidents, well, at that location, there's all these Cruise cars parked and none of them are charging because they're not being used. So they're already charged. So they're basically just sitting there. And then on the other side, they have this brand new, like, massive lot, okay? And this lot, I think there's like 6 or 7 machines there, right? A lot of charging capacity. But of course, this location is not open yet. It would be nice when this location is open because, like I said, I think it had like 7 chargers. So that means it can charge up to 14 cars. And this location actually had enough parking. But the only problem I see running into this location is, why hasn't it already opened? Right? And then when this location does open, it may run into some of the same problems that the North Beach location runs into. A lot of times I go to the North Beach location and once again, there's 4 parking spots and there's 4 machines. A lot of times machines are offline for no apparent reason at all, but you'll just show up there and the machine is totally offline. And it doesn't appear to be like it's broken. It just looks like it's just offline. And I don't know, I've kind of wondered, I've kind of like, you know, talked to all my other electric car friends and we've always just kind of talked about it. Like, why do you think they just cut the power off sometimes? And I don't know, we've never really been able to figure it out. But like sometimes like I'll go to a station and I'm trying to charge and I'll go to the car and try to plug the charger in, and then I look at the name of the charger and then check the app and then see that it's offline. And of course it doesn't say it's offline on the screen. You know, it just looks like it's working, right? But then I figure out from the app that it's offline, and then I may go and drive to another location and then come back later in the day, and guess what? Magically it's back online. And it looks completely the same. It doesn't look like it's broken. It doesn't look like it's missing a part. It looked like maybe they just cut it off and then maybe they cut it back on later. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. Another thing about EVGo, it seems like a lot of their chargers are offline, okay? I remember going to Tahoe recently and we drove EV and oh my gosh, it was so many EVGo chargers offline. The perfect charger that we could have charged at, it was like really close to the place where we're staying at, and we were not able to charge there because that location was offline. For what reason, I have no idea, but that's just what they do. Like a lot of times they're just offline. You know, even going up to Tahoe, I was actually kind of surprised to see how many EVGo chargers that were actually on the way. So going up to Tahoe, we didn't have a problem with like charging. But in the city, I often have problems charging in the daytime. This is kind of now I kind of have a different strategy of charging. I'm not really gonna say because I don't want. I know a lot of people are gonna be watching this video because you know electric cars are selling like crazy, and people are trying to figure out how to charge, right? Yeah, lately I've definitely been charging. I've just been using a slow charger. I've been charging at night. You know, leave the car here, charge, come back, get it later, that sort of thing. And it's like sort of in this garage, you know. So that's something I've been kind of doing. But another thing about EVGo, like I say, a lot of their chargers are offline. And then a lot of the chargers, at least in the city, are designated to like Cruise and Waymo. But then also with ChargePoint, which is, I wouldn't really call them a competitor. I would just call them another electric charging company. Well, ChargePoint, they specialize in more slow chargers, right? You know, slow chargers, they are not so beneficial if you're in a hurry. But if you have time, a slow charger is kind of cool, right? Now, at least with EVGo, I feel like a lot of their chargers are nowhere where I need them to be. Maybe the North Beach location is somewhat okay because you can kind of go for a walk around North Beach while your car's charging. But a lot of their other chargers are just they're just not in places where like I need to be. Like there's a charger down in Daly City I go to. And the mall is like maybe a mile away, right? So if it was an EVGo charger at the mall, that would be dope because at least I could like go to the mall and like walk around, right? But at the mall, there's only free chargers and they're never available. However, the EVGo charger, it's at like this library. That charger is always available. And I'll explain, easy to explain why that charger is always available. Most people that live in Daly City, they have a garage. And if they have like a Tesla or an electric car, they're gonna have a charger in their garage. So they're not gonna have to go to an EVGo charger. If you live in the city and you have an EV and you do stuff like Uber and you don't have a parking spot, well, you're probably gonna have to charge, right? So I usually go down there and charge, but then once again, I go down there and charge sometimes and it's just so inconvenient because if I wanna walk to the mall, I have to walk like a mile to the mall. And this is a fast charger here. So by the time it takes me 20 minutes to walk down there and I stay there for 20 minutes and then 20 minutes to walk back, well, the charger's done. So like they're like never in places where you need them to be. Like even when we were like, going to Tahoe. So we stopped and charged at the Safeway location. And of course there's like nothing around the Safeway location. So yeah, we went in Safeway and got some stuff. There's a Starbucks there. But it's like there's nothing around here. You know, if it was at a shopping center, it'd be kind of cool. Like you can kind of go to the shopping center, right? Or if it was at like, if it was at like more Safeway locations. I feel like the Safeway locations in the city, they're like by nothing. You know, all the EVGo, like the Safeway locations, like this one is by the beach. And this one hasn't opened. But when this one opened, it's like, yeah, I can drive to this EVGo charging station and I can walk down to the beach, but a lot of times you're not going to want to do that. Especially in the wintertime, it's going to be so freaking cold, going down to the beach. So once again, this charger is like, it's great that it's here and I'm not complaining that, oh yeah, they're, it's here, but like they're never in places where like you really want them to be. Yeah, they're at a lot of libraries, I wish they were at like gyms, At least with ChargePoint down in the peninsula, there's a couple ChargePoint locations that are near like a 24-hour fitness. So you can like literally go in there, pay like $1 an hour to charge your car, and then just go in there and work out for like an hour and then come back out and you got like 20 miles, for like $1. But that's at ChargePoint. But once again, if EVGo was at like a 24-hour fitness, I could straight up roll up to 24-hour fitness, go to like EVGo in the parking lot, charge up, stay there for an hour, and like basically fill up my whole car, So, I mean, I don't know. There's like pros and cons when it comes to this. If you're thinking about buying an EV and you don't live in San Francisco and you have a house and you have a, garage, this video may be kind of, cool to watch because when you go on a road trip, you'll definitely need to charge. But for the most part, this won't be an everyday thing for you. Another drawback with EVGo charging, this is something that I run into a lot in the city. And if I run into this a lot in San Francisco, I'm sure other drivers run into this too. Okay. I'll try to go to the charger in North Beach, okay? So I'll drive there. Maybe it takes me 7 minutes to drive there, okay? So I get there, and I see that they're all fully charged. So sometimes I may wait a couple minutes, 5 or 10 minutes to see if anyone leaves, or to see if anyone comes back to their car. Or sometimes I'll look on the app and say, okay, let's go over here to this other charger, right? So by the time I drive over to the other charger, well, sometimes I may get there, one machine's unavailable because it's offline, and then the other machine is being used, right? So I say, okay, do I want to wait here or do I want to go to another location, right? So now I'm driving to another location. Or maybe I go back to the North Beach location. And then maybe I go to the Whole Foods location. And then maybe I go from the Whole Foods location to like get on the freeway and like leave the city and go somewhere else, right? But sometimes I can spend like an hour looking for charging, right? An hour in the daytime looking for charging. So this is kind of a problem, you know, spending an hour versus sometimes I'm thinking, okay, what I'll do is I'll just go find a slow charger. You know, I'll just take my car and leave my car at this slow charger overnight. And then that way, you know, at least I won't have to look for charging for like 2 days, right? And I talk to a lot of drivers and they do this too, where like they'll purposely park their car at like certain garages where like, you know, after this hour, it's basically free to go in the garage. And then there's like a charger in the garage and then they just leave their car there and it's $1 an hour. And they come back like the next morning and their car is fully charged. Now, the only problem with that, it may be inconvenient to get from where you're staying to the car, to get from the charger back home. And then early in the morning, you got to get from home back to the charger, right? That might be inconvenience, right? But then it also, you got to think, like, would you rather do that or would you rather spend an hour looking for a charger in the daytime? And then after you look for a charger in the daytime, you have to, you know, hang out at the charger, right? Or maybe you go walk around the block and then you're paying more for the charger, right? Because at least with EVGo, you know, I charged earlier and for $12, I went from, I think I was at like 20% to like 80, like almost 80%, but it was $12. But if I was at a slow charger, I could basically roll up with like 15 miles, right? And then within 12 hours, I'm fully charged for $12. Or I'm fully charged for free if it's a free charger. Because sometimes some chargers, they just don't charge you. Like, I don't really want to get too much into it. I don't know any EVGo chargers like this, but I found some chargers where like you pay, but it just don't charge you, you know? So, you know, in certain garages in the city, you know, certain companies, they, you know, let their employees charge for free. So as long as you got an account, you know, you don't have to pay for the charging, you know? So, you know, that's just one thing about it. I know a lot of folks out there are like, wow, it seems like a lot of hassle to drive an EV. It's not that much of a hassle to drive an EV. I don't know. I would much rather drive an EV than a gas car. I mean, it's way more efficient to drive. It's easier to drive in traffic. You know, there's just a ton of benefits of driving an EV. You could charge it at home. I mean, you could find free charging. And once again, I don't know any gas station that's giving out free gas, but I know plenty of places where you can get free charging for your car, right? At the malls. I mean, there's apps that you can use. You got to download Plug app. When you download Plug app, just go to the settings and just go to free chargers. It's hella free chargers. Usually all of them are slow, but you can actually find some DC fast chargers that are free. At the Stonestown Mall, whatever it is, they got a DC fast charger. You get 30 minutes for free. And I think it caps out at like, 54 kilowatts or something. I think 50 kilowatts or something. I don't know. It may actually go much higher than 50 kilowatts. Yeah, anyway, like I said, I love EVs. I think when people really figure out like how cheap they are to operate, everyone's gonna be jumping on them, right? And I hear a lot of people talk about like fires and batteries and stuff like that, and like electric cars catching on fire. Yeah, they definitely catch on fire, right? But gas cars catch on fire too. Gas cars literally blow up like a bomb, like boom. You know, I think that's a lot more terrifying than, you know, how EVs catch on fire. Also, battery technology won't always be the same. I've been hearing a lot of folks talk about sodium batteries, right? And believe me, it's way more salt in the world than lithium. And salt is way cheaper. And also, more importantly, these salt batteries don't, these sodium batteries don't they don't cause like fires like lithium batteries do. So I don't know, it's definitely something to look forward to in the future. Like, of course, this technology will get better. Like I said, I love driving an EV. Like, it's just really simple to drive. Like, things like the one pedal driving is game changer, yo. Like, it is game changer. And if you don't know what one pedal driving is when you get in the car, and this is something, I don't know if gas cars do this. Maybe they do. Maybe hybrids do this. But basically, all electric cars do this. But like, you get in the car and you usually cut it on. Like, there's an option to cut it on. You know, one pedal driving. And one pedal driving is basically when you have your foot on the gas, the car go. You had the foot on the accelerator, the car goes. But as you take your foot off of the accelerator, the car slows down. And if you're driving like 30 miles an hour and you just take your foot off of the accelerator, the car will basically come to a complete stop. And it's really awesome to use when you're driving in traffic, especially heavy traffic, because you don't have to keep taking your foot off of the gas and putting it on the brake. You don't have to keep doing that motion. You can just ease your foot up and ease it back. Ease your foot up, ease it back. And it just makes driving easy. And you hardly ever touch the brake. Like, usually, my foot hardly ever touches the brake unless I'm going down a hill. Because going down a hill is just, you know, you just need more. Especially if you got people in the car and stuff like that. Yeah, the regenerative braking is good, but it ain't that good. It ain't used to all that weight, you know. But anyway, you know, charging EVGo, yeah, it's good. Like, I also, you know, if you ever use EVGo, or if you're gonna think about getting an EV, there's also different rates, different charge times that you can, you know, use. So if you just go to an EVGo charger, they're gonna hit you, yo. It's gonna cost a lot. They're gonna hit you with like a $2.99 fee, basically for plugging up, and then it's like maybe like 50 cents a kilowatt or whatever. And like, if you got like, you know, for example, you got like a Chevy Bolt, I think it's like 65 watts, 65 kilowatt hours, size of the battery, right? So basically, you know, 54 cents per kilowatt is kind of expensive. Because if you go to EVGo Charger after like midnight, from midnight to 8 a.m., that's like the cheapest time. And the charger, you know, it depending on the plan, pretty much depends on the plan. Because if you just, like I said, if you just roll up to an EVGo Charger, they're gonna charge you way more than if you get like a monthly plan. And if you're like an Uber driver or someone like that, like you're driving all the time, you would have to get the monthly plan. Because with the monthly plan, maybe it's like, you know, $8 a month, but they don't charge you $2.99 every time you go to an EVGo Charger, right? Just to plug up. Because sometimes it's very beneficial to like roll up to an EVGo Charger just for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, sometimes when I'm doing Uber, I may have to do a shop and pay. And if it's ever at a Safeway with an EVGo Charger, even if I don't need to charge, I always charge the car when I'm in the Safeway, just because, you know, if the charger is available, you know, if I'm gonna be in there for 15 minutes, I might as well be getting some charge, you know. I wish I could do that in more places, but like I say, like, EVGo, they're just not like everywhere, you know. They're just not everywhere you need to be or everywhere you want to be, you know. But like, every now and then I try to like take advantage of it. But anyway, I've been talking for a minute in this video. Like, this is a long one. You know, I thought I would make a video talking about EVGo because I've been using it for a minute. And like, I like left for EVGo Charger earlier. Man, that joint was so busy, bro. And I was like, basically I was waiting for the charger, right? And I was kind of double parked on the street, and this at that North Beach charger. I was kind of double parked on the street, and like, this dude drove by. He was looking, and I was like, nah. He saw I was waiting in line next, right? And then for a minute, I was like, let's just roll around the block. So I like rolled around the block, of course. And there's this EV at the light. So I like make the right. And I'm pulling up to the charger, right? And of course, I already know it's full. But instead of blocking the driveway, I just pulled over to the side. Well, the car that was at the light, the other EV, just rolled up and blocked the driveway. And I'm just like, oh crap, you ain't just skipped me now. So of course, like 2 cars end up leaving. And when 2 cars end up leaving, we both pulled in. And when I pulled in, it was like 1 charger here, 1 charger there. I pulled into the second charger, got out the car, and was gonna plug the second charger up, but the dude was using the second charger. So I could have went grabbed the other charger before the other person got out the car, but I didn't do that, right? I was just kind of like, crap. And then that chick got out the car and was just like, all like, you know, like, all like, getting all pissed, thinking I was gonna take the charger, and I'm just like, yo, I'm not even over there, you know? And she was just kind of like, yeah, I got here, like, I was here before you, and I was like, actually, I was here before you, but I'm not tripping, like. And then basically, I just cut the Uber app on, got some order leaving the city, and then I was able to charge, like, outside the city, because I'm gonna keep it real, outside the city, it's way easier to use EVGo. In the city, it's hit or miss, bro. Like, it is hit or miss. Like, either you roll up and you just got a slot, or you don't. You know, and if you don't, it's like, what do I do? Do I drive to the next one? Or do I just post up here for however long, and then I have to stay here even after I've been posted up, you know? So, I don't know. It's tricky. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this one up, talking about EVGo. I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. If y'all like this video, let me know. If you got questions, put them down in the comments. Bye-bye.